Welcome to Decades, hosted by Chris Rubio. Decades is a show made up of 5 generations of people brought together to discuss topics you wouldn't normally talk about with others. The goal of the show is to learn by having some good, possibly heated discussions, without losing the simple fact that it's okay to talk to different people with different opinions other than your own.
Welcome to Decades. My name is Chris Rubio. I'm the host of Decades. We've got a fun show for you today. We're going to have some good arguments, good discussions. We're going to bounce the topics all around. We've got Ed, Sub-60 Ed, producer, co-host extraordinaire. He's finally out of his Taliban cave. I see that he's actually, his family let him above ground for the first time. We've got Alex on Tech. We like to call him Gru. He's out in LA. We've got Bill Geiser and the free state of Florida representing the 60s. We've got Crazy Man representing the 50s. And we've got Charles Walls representing the 20s. You're still in your 20s, Charles?
Yeah, 26.
Oh, Jesus, you're a child. Good God.
Baby. Talking about a baby with a mustache.
Yeah, so I don't want to spend, we could spend all day on this topic, but let's start with Charles. Charles, do you even remember, there's no way you could, 9/11?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, we're on the anniversary of it today.
Yeah, I was 3 years old, so I don't remember anything about it. I know that, I remember like bits and pieces of the day, like we have to go pick my sister up from school and things like that, but I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, and as you shouldn't at age 3. Bill Geiser, where were you when it all happened? Give us like the 2-minute version.
I was in San Jose, California for some meetings, and what a strange odyssey it was getting home. You know, the world shut down, and kind of what I remember, if you think back, that was before we had smartphones, before Twitter, before Facebook. It was almost like being off the grid for a couple of days. Some very unique experiences driving home, you know, where certain gas stations were raising the prices up and vigilante justice was not out of the question by the angry hordes trying to fill up their cars. And going to restaurants where it was like everybody knew everybody. You know, I never walked into a place where it was filled with strangers and it didn't feel strange. It was a unique time.
Yeah, I would say that was probably the closest every American has been to one another mentally and physically, and probably emotionally. Crazy Man, what about you?
I was actually 6 miles from the Pentagon.
Oh,
working at a retail place. Yeah, we were working, and we were actually selling a lot of TVs because people were talking about planes just hit, and we actually watched the second plane hit the towers as live TV as it collapsed. And it was roughly, I live about 35 miles at that point. It took me almost 4.5 hours to get from Arlington to where I currently live, as well as my wife worked in the district down in Georgetown, and it took her almost 8.5. So you had cell phones, landlines, nothing was working. Everything was just going great. I mean, it was definitely an interesting and wondering what was going to happen.
yeah, because it all looked, I hate to use the word surreal, but it all felt so surreal and weird. Sub-60 Ed, what were you?
I was actually sitting in this house in my office upstairs. Had the TV on, was working. It was when I had my own business, and I was actually, I remember watching the Today Show, and they're talking about, we're just getting reports a plane hit one of the towers, and it was before everybody thought it was just, you know, a plane crashed into the towers. Everybody's like, oh Jesus, what's going on? And then the second plane hit shortly thereafter. So yeah, it was kind of a crazy time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
were you in America at that time?
Yes, I was. Actually, I was getting ready to work and was getting ready. My older kid, she was like in kindergarten. I was ready to walk her to school and then, you know, go to work. And then the whole thing happened. I was kind of watching stuff when I was on TV, some news. And then my mother-in-law called me and she goes, "Oh, what do we do?" I go, "What do you mean? What do we do? Just you live your life." You know, I mean, you know, just do your stuff. Okay? I mean, what else can you do? So
yeah, Just like Jim Scarano posted, hopefully his back's feeling better, or he'd be on the show with us. I was in my first or second year of teaching as well. And I remember I was teaching sixth graders, and the news started coming around, and they're just kind of getting out of their cars. It was like 7:30 in the morning Pacific time. And their parents, you're on the radio or listening to the radio, and kids are coming in like, is this going to happen here? And you're trying to control, 10, 11, 12-year-olds. Oh, no, everything's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. You don't want to stoke fear into them. But yeah, let's just everyone remember 9/11 happened 23 years ago. Good God. That's kind of wild. That. All right. So I don't want to move on too quickly, but we're going to move on. Big debate last night between not Joey B, he got replaced, Kamala and El Trumpo. I want to know everyone's thoughts on this, and then I'll chime in my own thoughts on it. Everyone's got their opinion, no matter who you talk to. If you talk to someone on the left, they're going to think that, oh, they won. Kamala was the best. Someone on the right, they're going to say, oh, El Trumpo was the best. He was the best. Okay. Then you're going to have your middle of the road people. Those are the ones that I think everyone's kind of leaning towards, because people that are super, super right, your quote unquote MAGA, they're voting for El Trumpo. The people that are super, super left, they're obviously voting for Kamala. There's that, let's say 50% window in the middle. Okay. You got to see where they're at. So Sub 68, you're raising your hand. What did you think about the debate?
I thought neither of them. I'll just start with what I thought about neither of them. Neither of them really talked about their policies and so on. They kind of said, "Oh, we will do this," but never got into any real detail. What I did think she was able to do, which I think hurt him, she was able to get under his skin and kind of play with his mind a little bit, and I think that hurt him. The other, hurt him, didn't hurt him. I don't know. But I think, it triggered him instead of using the word everybody has been using today. I think what was really the two things that I noticed that were really kind of key was the fact that she walked into his personal space right off the bat and stuck herself and shook his hand and said, hi, nice to meet you, or whatever she said. She might even said, fuck you or whatever. I don't know. Shook his hand, but I think the other thing that was interesting, I noticed, he never looked at her when she was talking or he was talking. He always looked straight ahead. He never really engaged her with, and that, from a body language perspective, that can mean multiple different things. Does it change? Did it change my opinion on either one of them? No, not really. But I thought it was an interesting dynamic that played out in that sense, where I thought there was a whole bunch of nothing.
Okay. Crazy man. Then I'm going to go to Chalice.
Well, I had to do some searching this today because I was actually at a concert last night to see Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie. So what I found through is like Ed said, neither of them really put out what their platform is. She did stroke his ego to have him enticingly to go after her and say stupid crap. But also ABC, I had a friend who was watching the debate, and ABC was doing a lot of fact checking, but it was always fact checking on Trumpo, not on Kamala Harris. So either way, like you said, Rubio, left and right, it's still trying to figure out who's in the middle. I thought it was interesting that she said that she owned guns. So she kind of said that she owns guns. So did she alienate some of her own party who's also against guns? So it's going to be hard to say.
Well, especially since she's already said she wants to do the gun buyback program too. So she's going to just sell her own gun back. All of a sudden she has a gun. That was one thing. That's the one thing about debates is I can't stand how if you're going to be the moderator, if you ask them a question and then they don't answer the question. If I was, I'd be the perfect moderator because I'd be like, you didn't answer the question. Do it. Try again. Like the very first question she had was, are people better off now than they were 4 years ago? And she had her pre-scripted notes of what she was going to say. And the moderator should have let her say it and then said, okay, that's cool. Now, are they better? Yes or no? But they don't ever do that. So it's just, I don't even know what the point is. Chalice. I got you some 68 after us.
I thought it was a pretty unfair debate in the sense that it felt like it was a 3-against-1 debate. It didn't feel like you had moderators who were impartial. It felt like there were moderators there who have their own politics and let their own politics get in the way of moderating the debate. They're both they both come across as extremely liberal people just in how they moderated that debate. So I think ultimately the story of the night coming away from it wasn't even so much the debate. It was how biased the moderators were in favor of Kamala. So I think that was on purpose for them to try and prop her up. But I think it's going to, in the long run, backfire because it was just so blatant that it was unfair. It was kind of like watching a Philadelphia Eagles game. The refs have to help them out. So the moderators, that's how I felt watching it.
I was just going to say AC last night on AC Sports Live. He was talking about how the Chiefs always seem to have the refs in their pocket, and it's like even though they win, people talk more about the referees than they do the actual substance of the game, and that's the way. I mean, it was very, very obvious. Crazy Man was talking about the fact check. They fact checked El Trumpo 7 times live, which I don't think moderators are supposed to do that, but if they are going to do that, they should try to make it equal. And they didn't fact check her once, not zero times.
And some of the fact checks on Trump were inaccurate.
Oh yeah, most of them were. Where they were saying like, oh no, you can't have late term abortions, and it's like literally the Vice President Tim Walz's state, you can have a late term abortion. They will have the birth and they will not resuscitate the baby. It's game over if the baby comes out and still moving around and doing all that. And I mean, there was like 8 states, and it was being fact checked on X so quickly, where people were like, "No, this is not true, man. Like this is 100% true, not true. Oh, I'm against fracking." It's like, no, you literally said you want to ban fracking. I mean, it's one of those. Sub 68, and then I'll go to Bill Geiser.
No, I just wanted to kind of call out Jim Scrano for just doing the Alice Cooper while we're having this conversation. I don't know. I wanted to do that. Plus actually what my takeaway from this is kind of being in the middle is that the right is saying it's a win. It was unfair. It was the 3-on-1. Yeah, I could, you kind of saw that. But on the left, it's like, oh, you show how unhinged he was. So again, I'll just restate. I don't know if we made any progress towards anything yet on the whole topic.
Crazy Man, you got to get up there. I'll go to Bill Geiser.
Well, I think Harris was a prosecutor, so she knows how to talk. But having the fact checking where it's like everyone's saying it's 3-on-1, she didn't need that, so it actually made her look weak. From what I was looking at, made her look more weak than a strong candidate.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the thing as well. Like, okay, she's a strong, independent woman, blah, blah, blah. That's great. But she needed 2 other people helping her on this one. And then when she did the first interview ever on CNN, she brought along Tim Walz. And it's like, okay, if you're so independent, just go. Run with it, honey. Let's see what you got. Bill Geiser?
Well, I got to disagree with Crazy Man on one point. She may have been a prosecutor, but she earned the name Word Salad Annie, honestly. She cannot string 2 sentences together and make them sound logical. I really, as far as the debate last night, I came to the exact same conclusion Chalice talked about, was that there was an exceptionally obvious bias from the ABC moderators. I read today, Lindsay Davis, who is the female moderator, is Kamala's sorority sister. What kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah.
What type of total fucking bullshit is that? That should have been called out up front. They didn't do it. The net of it is, it's not going to change any vote. If you're a Trump supporter, you're voting for Trump. If you were, before the debate, a Kamala supporter, you're voting for her. The independents, I think, I would kind of go where Chalice was, but I would also point out what RFK Jr. said for his reason for endorsing Trump. The media was biased and was going to just eliminate him from having any fair shot to express himself. And the world saw it firsthand last night. And I think long run, that's going to bite her in the ass.
Yeah, everyone always complains about the mainstream media, and then this was just like live footage of it. It was like, you're looking at it, and okay, every politician is going to have their fibs and their lies and their fabrications and their exaggerations, but she had so many lies that were just easily proven. Like she did the Covington, or what was the many fine people hoax. Like that one's been, Snopes has literally even done that one where it's not true. Or Trump was going to do the national abortion ban. He's already come out and said 55 times that he's not doing that. Or the one where he said, what was it? I can't remember now. Go ahead, Bill Geiser.
During the debate last night, this light bulb went off on me, and it was the story of Donald Trump is the story of Frank Serpico, but on steroids. If you think about this, much like Serpico, Donald finds himself scorned by both sides of the political spectrum. Democrats hate him, and all those neocon Republicans, the established Republicans, Dick Cheney, Bush, Mitt Romney, they all hate this guy's guts, just like Serpico. If you think about it, criminals hated him, cops hated him. All right. Why is it? What connects those two guys? In my view, and I know there's Nana Mona saying, come on, not everyone will agree with me, but my personal view on it is, like Serpico, you have the lone man standing up against a corrupt system. And they're not going to play the game. And by not playing the game, they threaten everybody who is profiting from the game. And that's why, and the media's in it, just like Serpico. And you know what else they have in common? They both got shot in the face. If you think about it. I mean, they're both representative of the real personal cost of standing up to these corrupt institutions. God bless Donald Trump for standing up to these guys, because he's got the cojones to do it. Kamala, she's a puppet. She's going to do whatever they tell her to do, just like President Applesauce has been doing.
Well, she would have to. I mean, they literally placed her into this thing after the coup. I mean, she's gonna be.
This corruption runs deep, and it's going to take a miracle and somebody with some real commitment. And look at how much money the guy's lost. His net worth has shrunk dramatically since he came on the presidential stage. Can you say that about the Bidens, the Clintons, the Bushes, AOC, both Republican and Democrat establishment? No, they all get rich playing the game.
Yeah, I think the key word you said a couple of times was the system. Gru, I think you even said it as well. What are your thoughts?
Well, I actually stopped watching it after the question, after she dodged the first question. I said, you know what, I'm not wasting my time. I'm going to watch some comedy on Netflix, okay? That's what I did, for the rest of it, okay? And today I've seen a bunch of reports where her earrings kind of looked like a microphone in them, kind of thing, where she got help through some kind of, another source besides the moderators, so... And I agree the whole thing was actually rigged, so, I mean, it was not fair. And, I don't think it changed anybody's mind. People who like Trump still going to do Trump, and people who like her still going to do her, no matter what they said, or, whether it's going to be another debate, it doesn't change stuff for most people.
Yeah, and I think like what Chalice said, the real loser here was the moderators and mainstream media. Like, because there's no way you could have watched that entire show and not just gone, why are they fact checking him all the time? And she's just getting away with, and Project 2025 is what he's promoting. It's like, no, he's said it literally 50 times. He's not promoting Project 2025. He has no policy within it. Sub 60, what are you smirking about?
I'm smirking that. She's full of shit on the project. I'm not going to get into Project 2025 because I told a mutual friend of ours we wouldn't talk about it on here. But no, I think he, if he's elected, he will. And I think he says stuff too. I mean, look at some of the stuff he was saying. Come on. They both say something.
Like what? What was he saying?
He says, What? Trump?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
said, look at what does the
Yeah, he was.
So give us an example.
He was saying migrants were eating pets. That's been debunked by the
No, that
CNN.
has not been debunked.
Yes, it has.
That
By
has
the
not.
news.
No,
Yes, it has.
no, you're wrong. You
No,
were
you're
wrong,
wrong,
man.
Bill. It was actually she was a U.S. citizen.
That's
that
not
was-
what we're talking about.
No. Bill asked me a question that said,
Yes, but it hasn't been debunked.
Yes, it has.
No,
No,
it
it hasn't.
hasn't.
Okay.
They have done
right,
the
all
local
right.
news there.
I'm not
People
gonna.
have gone on the local news. Black people, white people, Hispanic people have been on the news and
Springfield
said
and the
that
Springfield
they're doing it, that their pets are going missing, that their pets are
If the
being
pets are going missing, doesn't mean they're being eaten.
they're just taking them. They're not eating them. So who cares?
Come on, you live in Philadelphia. You know they get okay. Okay.
But why would everybody say this? Did the town come together and say we're going to do it?
They have the Springfield police have come out and said it's not true.
There's police reports of that. There's police reports.
Okay.
Opposing
All
it.
right.
I listened to a police report today.
Okay. All right. I'm just telling you what I've heard too. I've read this Ohio newspaper. Okay.
But even if going back to Project
Ed, have you
2025,
subscribed to the Free Press yet?
No, I have not.
I figured.
wait, can I just chime in? So even if Donald Trump can publicly say he doesn't endorse Project 2025 multiple times on multiple platforms, and you just shrug and say, I don't believe him, then what's the point of even watching the debate then? Because nothing he says is going to change your mind.
No,
He can
for Donald
say
Trump,
anything, and you're
I've
not gonna-
I've already come clean and I said that. I don't believe anything he comes out of his mouth.
Well,
I've said to all you.
You've been programmed to despise him more than the corruption he fights.
No.
You're okay with the corruption.
No, Bill. No, I hate the way he's a bully and he makes fun of people.
What
I've said
I'm
that to
saying is
everybody.
you hate him more than the
Yes.
corruption he's fighting.
He makes
Just like
yes.
Serpico.
He
Serpico
makes
was
fun of people.
Right,
He
but there are
So was
this
Serpico.
country is
So-
falling
Serpico was
apart.
Yes, you're right. As I've said to Rubio, as I've said to I've said to your dad, I do not like Trump for the one reason, and I would never vote for him because of the way he makes fun of people who are different.
So
mocks
you
them.
would rather the country continue to go down the path it's going down than
No,
ever. So you would rather
no. As I've said, I am a middle of the road independent who thinks they're both awful. I think the
So
US
you're not
is
voting
better.
for Kamala.
But
No.
you,
Right
nothing
now,
you
and
say.
you're saying
I'm
you
not
don't
voting. No, I'm not voting for. No, I'm voting for the third party, whoever that is.
But that's not a vote for anybody. That's like
That's what,
voting for
that is a vote. See, at some point, Charles, we have to step back and we have to say a change needs to be made in this country. These parties don't do it anymore.
But
the left
here's
doesn't
the
do it
thing,
in the right.
if you look at the country,
it has
in
to
the
stop.
4 years that Trump was in office, it's much better than right now.
Not for me. It wasn't.
How wasn't it?
I haven't seen any change.
Have you?
I bought a new car in that time under
I'm
Biden.
paying a lot more for eggs and bacon.
Yeah, like
so-
the price of groceries.
I'm telling you, I ain't voting for Trump, and I ain't voting for.
Okay, real quick. Sub 68. Have you been to the grocery store in the past 3 years?
I go every Saturday or Sunday. I do
And are
shopping.
the prices, have you noticed that the prices are higher? Yes or no?
Yeah, they are. Doesn't
Okay,
mean my
so-
salary hasn't moved with it. So,
Cats
Right,
and
so-
dogs are still missing.
so-
It doesn't matter if ABC checked it.
But have you spoken to anyone else that's maybe affected them?
I have said to them, we've had this conversation, you, me, and our friend Rubio, and I said to those who has impacted, I'm sorry, but I am not going to be caught up in a right extreme and left extreme type thing. But to me, they're both extremes.
Hold on.
And-
Donald Trump, if you look at Donald Trump's policies right now, the policies he's running on, he is honestly 2 to 3 steps further left than the first Obama administration on a lot of issues. So if he is further left than Barack Obama, how is that right-wing extremism?
I didn't say it was right-wing extremism. I said
You
they were
just did.
extreme. I just said he was. I said he was a right extreme and he's a left
Fact
extreme.
check
Yes,
that, Rubio. Can you fact check that? Did he
no,
not
but I'm
say
just. But I'm saying. But okay, I am saying he's because we have a right and a left on this. On the two candidates, we have a right and a left. He is too extreme for me, even if he's more left than Obama was.
So was Obama too extreme for you?
Yes.
He was too extremely conservative for you.
Okay, hold on. Sub 60 Ed, I'm a little confused here. What is far right on El Trumpo? Like, what do you think that he does?
Far when he, to me, when he set the.
Oh, Sub 60 just turned himself off. How do you know what to believe out of either of their mouths? However, I hate the corruption more than Trump. That's Scarano. I mean, you got to take everything they say with a grain of salt. But I think what you need to do is just look at the proof in the pudding. Okay, they're both going to lie, but then just look at what has been done. Like, if you're going to the grocery store and eggs are 5 times what they were before, gas, Sub 60 Ed's coming back on. And if it's just very obvious that the prices are much different and things like that.
Didn't mean to jump and scare everybody.
No, go ahead. I'm still waiting to hear Sub 60. How is El Trumpo far right?
Well, first of all, I think his one policy on tariffs is extremely conservative. I think the high tariffs that he's proposing is going to cause more problems. I also think that when he got rid of the Roe v. Wade, I think a woman has a right to choose. I don't think
didn't.
What? But
he did not.
But come on, Alex.
He left it to the states.
Not Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade.
Supreme Court got rid of it.
The Supreme Court got rid of it.
Yeah, the Supreme Court got rid of it.
I didn't talk about abortion. I talked about Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, but the Supreme Court did that, not Donald Trump.
Yep.
Who put the 3 conservative judges on the bench?
So
what does that have to do with anything?
Because that was
once he puts someone on the bench.
All right, guys.
They do whatever they.
You know what? Because okay. They say they don't, but they will lean left or right. Come on, guys. You know that. That's where their ideologies are going to be.
Okay, so you don't like how he pointed a more conservative.
I would rather have a more middle of the road judge on the bench than somebody left or right.
Actually, what they did is they didn't kill Roe Wade. They just kicked it back down to the states and said, this is where, if you think about it, it's the United States of America. We're a constitutional republic. We aren't governed by a central government who tells every one of the 50 states, this is what you're going to fucking do. They allow the states to decide what they want to do and run their own show.
And every state is different. I mean, look at my state, Idaho. It's very conservative. And right next to it is Washington, which is more liberal. But you can go to Washington, just 2 miles away.
What is it, Oregon or Washington will let you pay somebody to kill you, and it's legal. It's euthanasia. They allow that.
But that's every state. And that's
liberal.
That's the beauty of what guys are saying, is that it's the United States of America. Like me, I wouldn't live in Washington, okay? But there's, you can go buy the devil's lettuce there, and you can't do it in Idaho, okay? But I still wouldn't live in Washington because it's too out there. And same thing with Oregon. Go ahead, Charles.
The fact of the matter, when it comes down to the 2 candidates, and if you don't like a certain candidate because of how they speak and that they're mean, that's your prerogative. But the fact of the matter is, under this administration, if you look, there are so many more and if you want to take every other issue out of it, there are so many Americans who are dead at the hands of migrants who would not be here if it was not for this administration. Look up Aiden Clark. 11-year-old kid killed on his way home from school by a migrant. Yes, he was killed by a migrant who shouldn't have been in this country. But at least Biden and Harris don't say mean things.
Then why? Right. Exactly. They're not.
Exactly. So you don't care that there's an 11-year-old kid who would still be alive today because they don't say
that. You can't. You can't make that assumption.
And so who would have killed him?
Then why?
So maybe someone else would have killed him, but the migrant wouldn't have.
Then why did Trump have them kill the border bill so he could run on it during the election.
Because they loaded it with all the other bullshit.
Yeah, there was like 500
That's why
billion.
they did
Literally
it.
have it.
Come
Okay.
on, you know the
No,
reason.
Bill.
Ed.
No, Bill. I don't.
Yes.
No, Bill. I don't like Trump and the current Republican Party. They
You've made that clear, but
Right.
that's not the question you asked. Is
Right,
do we
but I'm
like
saying-
Trump? You asked why did Trump kill the bill? First of all,
No, he didn't.
Trump's
He killed
not the
it because he
president.
wanted to run it. He killed it
Trump-
because he wanted to run it.
Trump is out of office when that got shut down.
Come on. But he influences the whole Republican Party, Bill. Come on. He does. You're kidding me if you don't think that.
So what
You
did he
don't
say
think
to these people? What did he
told
say to
Mike-
them,
He
Ed?
told Mike Johnson to kill it.
You know that for a fact.
Yes, I do. I do.
Where? Give me the link to this.
I can't really. I can't give you my sources.
Show me the receipts, Ed.
Let's show you the receipts, man.
I mean, it's one of those things. If you looked at the bill, sub 60 Ed, there was like $700 billion in there for Ukraine. There's all this stuff for
Yeah,
LGBT.
they loaded
men.
with all this other horse shit.
And
That's
so-
what, in fact, that's one of the things Republicans are trying to do.
And
Single
why did-
issue
actually,
bills.
why did-
One
why
bill, one item.
Why
Just-
didn't they? Why didn't he finish the wall?
because he couldn't get the funding.
Because he
Kill the wall.
lost the election.
But why did he
Yeah.
was? It was still stalled even when he was in. It wasn't moving that fast.
Well, it
'Cause
was
it's-
actually moving, and then Biden killed the whole deal.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Biden
I'm
came into
saying, like,
office,
he-
stopped the
why
debt.
didn't- Where did the Mexico? I thought Mexico was going to pay for it.
For the taxes and tariffs.
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm just asking questions, Bill. We're just talking. We're talking about border security. Border security is going
Right,
to be
so-
the wall.
Okay,
If you don't-
I don't know the answer to that, but why did 13 people die leaving Afghanistan?
I agree with that. That's a fucking
Huh?
shit.
Why?
I agree. That whole thing's a shit show.
Why have we
So-
sent what $200 billion to Ukraine? What have we got out of that? And do we even know how that fucking money is spent?
Because we need to protect.
We
the
haven't
little
even
guys,
seen an
Bill.
audit on that money.
Sub 60 Ed,
You
you're
give
muffling
money
your
away
mic.
to
I can't
people
really hear you.
and just
Oh,
say,
sorry.
So keep it out or do something with it.
Yeah,
Chalice,
yeah,
you want to say something?
Hypothetically, let's have a hypothetical here. Trump
Uh-oh.
gets into office, but it saves American lives. Are you for it or are you not, Ed?
I'm for whatever the America. If he gets in,
I'm asking you, if I could tell you right now, all you got to do is press a button and it'll make Trump president and it'll save American lives, but he's going to say mean stuff to some people.
and you can guarantee it.
Yes.
No, because I'm not voting for either of them.
See,
No, 'cause
exactly.
it's
So
others.
what matters more to you is
Yes.
being nice than
How many
having a
times
safe
do I have
country,
to
than
tell
having a
you,
prosperous
Charles?
country.
How many times do I have to tell you? Yes. What do I have to say in different language? Yes.
You just said no.
No, I did say yes. It does matter to me. I won't vote for Trump. I've told people.
Yeah. So you would
I
rather more
yes.
people die
if that's what
than
it takes,
someone who says mean stuff.
if that's what it takes.
If that so exactly, so
If that's what it takes. If that's what it takes to make a change.
this is insanity. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah, I do.
This is, and you think that that's normal. You think that that's okay. That
I'm
words
not-
are
yes.
more important than lives.
I don't think that's going to save lives. So this is a hypothetical that I don't think would really play out. So
But
yeah,
if
I
you said
do.
it to me, but if you pose me the same hypothetical,
You
if it would
came to me
save
and said,
X amount of
didn't-
American lives
you know
for
what? You know
Harris,
what?
I would say fine.
You know what's
But it
fine.
won't.
That's fine, but that's you. That's not me.
So
But
what
you-
matters?
but you would say- but
That's
you- but
Ed.
you
That's
would
my
say-
point. That's my point. You're
You're
right. That
missing
is
my
me.
point. You're
What I'm
missing my
saying
point.
is,
Right.
Ed.
And
What I'm
you wanna
saying
step-
is, to you, words are more important than
Yes.
actual people's lives.
unless you can guarantee that he can save lives.
But I'm saying
Yeah, but you
hypothetically,
can't.
it's a
No,
hypothetical.
I'm not. It's an impossible hypothetical. And
No, it's all hypotheticals.
okay, yes.
They're not
If he
actually in
could-
reality.
if
I'm
he-
saying it.
if he would save lives, but I'm not sure Kamala Harris could also save lives.
But I'm posing it to you because she hasn't been, because people have been dying under her that wouldn't have been dying if there weren't migrants in the country that she busted in.
don't know. Okay. Yes. All right.
Lakin Riley's a perfect example. Sub 60 Ed, Georgia nursing student going for a jog, killed by a Venezuelan illegal immigrant as she's
So
jogging.
you guys are telling me, and I just want to understand that if we had that, if Trump was in, there would be no illegal migration. Nobody would ever get into this country from the north or the south.
No,
not
that's
saying
not
that.
true.
No, I'm just saying that's what he's.
I don't see Canadians coming down to us.
No, but
Yeah,
there's other people. There's you can get other people coming in from Canada.
I think the case in point here, Ed, is that during El Trumpo, these are very easy stats here. During El Trumpo, it was like 2.5 million for 4 years. What are they at now? Right, 13 million illegal aliens, and those are the ones that just count.
There's got to be a vetting process. He hasn't said.
No, I agree.
No one comes in, Ed. Don't exaggerate.
I'm that's what I'm asking.
So if you have
Yes,
12,
I'm going to stand so radical. Yes, to your point, Charles. Yes,
And that's insanity.
To me. So, no people.
You're proving my point. Like when you say things like that to the average person, you're proving the point that I'm trying to make when you say that.
I don't think so.
To an average person, you are.
I'm not average.
We can tell.
Crazy.
I meant on your views. I meant on his views.
Yeah, I know.
Right. I know. I understand what you're saying.
Crazy man, what's your thoughts on all this? What you're hearing?
Ed does have a point on some aspects that both of candidates definitely suck. What I have issues with, especially when the different parties will play to the audience. For example, like you have gun control. They always bring up Sandy Hook, which was a disaster where you had 26 students die. You had a teacher who died due to the fact that a individual who was mentally challenged killed his mother for the guns to do this unthinkable. But now you see all the reports on Sandy Hook is always into the limelight against gun control. As a teacher, and with what's been happening lately, I would love to be protected more than what I am in my current district. But I have to think outside the box, such as to protect my students or myself is I have a hockey stick in my classroom. I play hockey in the hallway. What? Oh, people go, oh, you play around with that. Well, that's a weapon if someone tries to enter my room. I have marbles in the classroom, even though I have lost a lot of my own marbles. I have marbles as well as a fire extinguisher. That is
crazy man. Does your school have like a police officer?
Not in elementary. We can call for a resource officer because I do work with special education. So if we have a student that does have a hiccup, we'll have a hiccup in the class. If that needs to be brought in, yes, we do have a resource officer coming in. But
but they're not
elementary.
They're not there full time.
That is correct.
Would that be something that would be good if they had a full time? What are they? I guess they're resource officers.
Yes, the resource
I think
officers.
That's the name for him. Would that be a good thing?
I think it's where I think from working in high school and elementary and middle school, those individuals, male and female, make a better connection with a lot of those kids. Because I've worked in the Title I schools where I've worked in a 76% where it's a Latino school system, where probably a good 300 of those students were illegal. And I really don't care. When you come into my classroom, I'm not the government. I have one job is to teach these individuals. Yeah. So that's where you try to make a connection with the kids. And I think there's really good resource officers out there that will make a good connection with these kids. That I've dealt with MS-13 in middle school, Latino Kings in middle school, where they're trying to connect with these kids because
are these resource officers? I see Jim's comment that they have a full-time one, but that person's unarmed.
No, they're armed.
Yeah. Okay.
We're armed
because they're sheriff's deputies, aren't they? They're actually sheriff's deputies.
Well, here's the thing.
Even when we have our DARE officer come in to talk with our fifth graders, our DARE officers are loaded.
Well, they have SRO. That's what they call them, school resource officers, at every school where I live right here. But I remember growing up, and it wasn't, say, the greatest of areas in LA. It was a suburb, but it was okay. But we always had just one entrance in. And I never thought anything of it. And I remember seeing someone say, like, oh, my God, that's jailing the kids, blah, blah, blah. You can't treat them like animals like that. It was a given. Like at my high school, the entire thing was caged, and you had one way in, one way out. And the one way in was right next to the administration office, so you had to check in. And there was always an armed guard right there. And I think we had two at our high school, where one kind of roamed and one stayed there. And that was fine. I mean, if it's going to stop someone, a bad person, from doing a bad thing, I'm all for it. I mean, to me, it seems like a no-brainer. Groot?
Well, yeah. For example, if I go to like a court or some government office, I always see metal detectors and people with guns protecting the government or the courts or the offices and stuff. And people say, oh, but school, yeah, we cannot treat it like that. But again, if it prevents, those kind of things, why not? I'm okay with it, basically, having two kids who went through California public schools.
I got you, crazy man named Sub 60.
Are you me or
Which one?
I couldn't tell.
Crazy man, then Sub 60.
Okay.
I mean, I think especially elementary or even middle school and high school, I think you should get some of these retired veterans to be
they would do it.
who are
They would do it.
volunteering. I mean, you hear a lot of stories out there going, "Hey, we will come and be there." Who wants to be coming into a building that is protected by a veteran or former police officer? That is willing.
This last one in Georgia, the kid stopped when the security officer just said stop. I mean, that ended the entire thing. He killed 4 people, injured like 9, and as soon as the school resource officer just went up to him and said, "Hey, stop," it's over. So it seems like a no-brainer. Sub 60.
No, I just had a theory. I was giving this theory to somebody. I can't remember who it was. You remember after 9/11, they started putting the air marshals on planes. They were plainclothes cops. You couldn't tell who they were, but if you flew enough, you could tell who they were. I was telling this friend, I don't think it was a crazy man. I think it was somebody else, that they need that in schools, where it's literally like a school marshal, where he or she is decked out. Looks like a regular teacher or something, and if shit goes down, it's he steps in, because, as I said, the resource officers at schools here are sheriff's deputies, and they're only going to be good to so far. I think.
Who wants to tell Sub 60 yet? He just described the movie and TV show 21 Jump Street.
Oh no, I did. Oh no. No, I know. Johnny Depp.
What a new invention, Sub 60 Ed.
Hey.
Amazing.
Hey, you know what? I'm great at repeating ideas that have already happened. I
want to move on to Springfield, Ohio, because it's a very, very hot topic right now. And we've already talked about the dogs and cats. We can come back to that a little bit. Just for those that don't know, Springfield, Ohio, it's in Ohio, obviously, population 40,000. Within the last 3 years, they've taken in 20,000 Haitian migrants. They've been flown in, 20,000 of them. Anyone that's been to Haiti or knows about Haiti or does any research on Haiti, Haiti is not America. Okay, it's not necessarily their fault. It's just they are from a third world country, and they are having massive, massive issues where the governor of Ohio just today announced he's sending the National Guard in and giving $2.5 million to Springfield, Ohio, to kind of help clean them up and get some more officers down there, because the Haitians are just driving and crashing. They are or are not taking pets. They're taking geese out of local ponds, ducks, eating them, just literally walking down the street. And it's become this little town of 40,000 has gone to 60,000, but 20,000 of them are now Haitian immigrants. What are you guys hearing on this? What's the answer here? What's going on? Like, am I crazy in like talking about this? Because it's been a very, very hot topic for several different reasons. Charles Wallace, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, I mean, you described it. There's really nothing else that I can say on it to describe it. That's what's happening. They've literally flown in, carted in 20,000 illegal immigrants into a small town, and it's gone to shit. And that's what happens when you try to bring the third world to a first world country. It goes to shit, and before you know it, it's also a third world country.
Yeah, it reminds me of a lot of times when you were in college. If you guys were in college or just young, mid 20s, young 20s, and you had roommates. If one roommate left, you'd always basically, quote unquote, vet the next roommate, because you don't want some guy who, if you're a non-smoker, you don't want a smoker. If you're a non-snorer, you don't want to snore. You don't want a guy who works graveyard when you work during the day. You don't want all those things. So you're checking out all these people. And the poor people of Springfield, Ohio, did they get to check anyone? Like, hey, do we have a kind of a say on this? Or did all of a sudden 20,000 people just pop in? Sub 60, you got to take that graphic off, Sub 60. You're like vanishing in and out.
No, it's because my other camera died. Anyway, I have a question. Where I know they came from Haiti. Haiti. Yeah, I know they came from Haiti. Where did they? How Ohio is kind of up here. It's a landlocked type. Where did they come from?
Haiti.
I know. Jesus. I know they came from Haiti.
They were flown in, Sub 60, Ed.
From Haiti.
From Haiti. Kamala signed that bill. People, they bring these people in. They brought in at 100,000 to come around.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. I was honestly asking. I didn't know they were flown in. I did not know that. I thought they might have come across the border, like the old DeSantis thing. I thought he flew them in from Florida, because it was too hot for them there. They went to drive up to Ohio.
No, guys, you seem to be frantically researching here. Do you have something to say?
What's that?
I said you seem to be researching heavily right now. Do you have anything to add to this?
Well, I think this is part of the stuff that we're seeing, not just in Ohio. I mean, that's gotten a lot of attention, but we've seen it in Chicago in particular, where you've got in New York City massive number of migrants being bused or flown into these cities, and it's part of this financial scam that's going on. These guys, I think in Chicago, the migrants are given $9,000 a month for some period of time.
Can I be a migrant?
What?
Can I be a migrant?
But see, this is the problem, is that if you take a look at the traditional core of the Democratic Party, it was made up of different segments. The 50-plus elite crowd has always been part of it, and that's still very strong for them. Blacks, Hispanics, and the under 30. Blacks, Hispanics, and under 30 are leaving the Democratic Party in droves. So they know, the party captains, elite, know their future is in jeopardy. They're not going to get these guys back. So they're bringing in new voters. That's what they're doing. They're bringing in new Democratic votes, and they're buying them through this money, through all this like COVID money that came in, but Chicago's running out of it. So they're spending it faster than they can bring it in, and it's causing problems. It is really causing massive problems. In Springfield, it's a question of you throw 20,000 people in there, but there's not food. There's not really shelter. For a town of 60,000, you throw in 20,000 that fast. Well, that's cruel. I mean, that's just cruel treatment of human beings. And whoever's responsible should really be sent to jail for a very long period of time. And I'm not in favor of making these people citizens. I'm in favor of getting them the hell out of here.
Yeah. Well, fact me on this one, but I think the average Haitian IQ is 67.
I read that too.
And you can't have
country, uneducated,
who's processing.
We should be trying to rebuild the country. Getting everybody to escape.
You can't have someone from a third world country who's got a 67 IQ and then drop them into, like Charles said, a first world country where, say, I think our average IQ in America is 100. Where, it's unfair to everybody. It's unfair to people of Springfield, Ohio, and it's unfair to the Haitians too. What are they going to do? I mean, a 67 IQ is, that's low. That's low, right?
Yes.
I don't know. I think mine's 64. Is it?
We're not
talking about your height.
Yeah.
No, you're sub 60.
Yeah, you're sub 60.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. Thank you for at least being the smart one of the group.
Gru, Alex on text. Being that you are a legal immigrant, what are your thoughts on this? Just dropping 20,000 people into Springfield.
Well, it is crazy. Same thing happened when they brought a bunch of people from like areas like Syria, like into Minnesota and whatnot. And those families, they basically try to establish Sharia law and all kind of stuff, to change how America is. Okay, I mean, when you come to my house, you don't tell me what to do. You obey my rules. Otherwise, you need to go back.
Crazy man.
Couldn't say it better.
I mean, I haven't had too much understanding with what's going on in Springfield, to be perfectly honest. Between working, I mean, I work with students with different abilities each and every day. So, I mean, if they're bringing in immigrants to promote one side of either Democrat or Republican, yeah, then there's a problem. But let's look at the other. I mean, look at all the veterans that are out there that are homeless and that aren't getting the help that they're supposed to be needing. And you're giving a lot of people coming in looking for asylum. I mean, great. If you're looking for asylum or looking to immigrate into the country, as a lot of my friends that are immigrants that had done it the correct way, they're all in favor of doing it the correct way, not just opening up and say, hey, let us in. If you try that in any other country, you're going to be shot or go to jail.
Yep.
Point blank. I don't see a lot of people trying to rush the borders of Russia or Ukraine or some other country in Africa and going, hey, I want to be here. Yeah, I don't think that's going to play out well for them.
Charles Walls, how do we solve this problem?
I think that it starts by unpopular opinion, getting Donald Trump back in office. But I also think even when Donald Trump gets back in office, if he gets back in office, I think that he's a little bit too lenient even on legal immigration right now, because there are so many illegal immigrants in this country right now that just saying, okay, you got to do it the right way for now is, to me, still a problem, because there's so many. It's like how Alex said about, like, you come to my house, right? Well, if I'm in my house and I have a kitchen fire and my sink's overflowing and there's water leaking through the walls, even if my kids invite their friends over, I don't really want their friends over right now because I have a lot of shit to deal with. So even if people are doing it the right way, that is something that I think for all, if you want to say 2 years, if you want to say 4 years, if you want to say 10 years, there needs to be a lot stricter. We need to be much more strict on even who we're letting in legally until we can get the country cleaned up. Because right now, again, the kitchen's on fire. There's water seeping through the walls. Everything is going to shit, and we can't just have people coming in, even if they are stand-up citizens.
No.
Sub 60 Ed, you're nodding. I'm kind of surprised you agree.
No, I do. I definitely.
I don't.
Hold on. Let me finish my. I do. I think we need to. People need to be here legally, and we need to stop the border. It's a sieve that is people are flowing over. I do agree with that. I agree that it needs to be locked down until we get it, and it needs to be funneled into a process. And then I also think, well, actually, I don't know where I stand on the following. Is like those that are already in here. Do we round them up and move them out, which is going to cost money, or do we give them some kind of path? I don't know. So I can't say where I stand on that. But I do think, no, I don't say lock the border, but I say, as you were saying, I'm going to use your analogy of your high school, Rubio. You said you kind of funneled everybody into one entrance. We figure out how to funnel everybody into one entrance and get it through the right way, or get more border patrols down there. Whatever that takes, that we can control the number, because there's too many people. I agree that the border is a definite crisis, and we need to figure that out sooner rather than later.
Okay, crazy man, then Bill Geiser.
I mean, I've worked in a Title I school where you have a lot of people that may be here legally, illegally, as well as trying to immigrate here. I mean, those parents that I've worked with are so appreciative on everything that we're trying to help their child with, that they're working 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet. And to see those families be gone. I mean, yes, there should be some type of border control, but there also should be a way of the citizens that the individuals that have been here to be continued to be productive, because they've been working their butts off to make a better life for themselves from whatever country they came from. But to pull them up and kick them back out to get back in line, I mean, yes, I like Ed, I'm right in the middle, but working on the front lines with a lot of these parents, I think there needs to be a way of helping them out that's been here, as well as being productive citizens.
What do you say to someone says you're looking at it through rose-colored glasses right now, and you're looking at 100 illegal immigrants, and you're saying that 2 of them are fantastic. They work their ass off. They're straight A students. Mom and dad work 7 different jobs, blah, 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 which is great. And I 100% agree with you on that. But then you have 98 other people out of that 100 that are absolutely just suckling on the government teat and not being productive at all. I mean, that's where I would read that, what you're saying right now. Okay, but what about this? Bill Geisler, then Chalice.
So I listened to a speech, actually it was an interview with J.D. Vance earlier this week. And this question came up, what do you do? So you're elected into office. We've got this massive problem of somewhere between 13, maybe even 20 million people have come into the United States under the Biden-Harris administration. We don't really know who they are, where they are, whether they're good people, bad people. You're in charge. What do you do? And he says, step 1, we control the border. He didn't say shut the border down. He said we control it. What he described is, it's sort of like you've got this wide open fire hose. You gotta ratchet it down. There's still water coming out of it, but it's at a rate that we can actually vet the people coming in. We want to make sure the people coming in are people we want in the country. Let's face it. We want people to contribute. Hard workers, quality, not criminals, all that. That's step 1. Step 2 is you've got to then look inside your borders and figure out about these 13 to 20 million people. What are you going to do? First step is get rid of all the bad ones.
Criminals.
We're going to have to hunt them down. But if there's like M13 or, criminals from these, you arrest them and you throw them out that day. No, there's no judge, no jury. Get them the hell out of here. Number 2, the next tier of people. These are the people who I would say, from my standard, is if they are contributing as good citizens, they're paying taxes, they're working jobs, they're not building up a lot of debt, we should give them a path to citizenship here. That's my view on it. And that actually sounded like J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is for that. That's Trump's guy, Ed.
Right.
All right, so let's end on Chalice. Go ahead, Chalice. You can wrap us up.
I think I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with the entire panel on this, because I just think, regardless of what you do when you're here, and obviously with how many people are coming in that are illegally coming in, there's going to be good ones. I'm not denying that. But to me, it doesn't matter what you do after you come here illegally because of that word. You came here illegally. So from that point on, it's already illegal. You already committed a crime. Once you committed the crime and you're here illegally, I don't care if you're a stand-up citizen, if you're working 5, 6, 7 jobs, because also on top of that, those 5, 6 jobs that you're working could they not go to people who were born here, who live here legally? You're taking jobs away still from people who have a right to be here when you have no right to be here. So what my solution would be, which you don't have to worry about this because it's never going to happen because even Donald Trump is not this far to the right, take every single person who's here illegally and boot them the fuck out of here and never let them back in. That's what I would do because you already committed a crime. If I break into your house and I start making you eggs for breakfast, do you really care? It's like, oh, these are some good eggs, though. I don't care. Why are you in my kitchen?
On that note, we're going to wrap up this episode. This was a phenomenal one. This is exactly the way this show should be going all the time. Current topics that spark some little bit of controversy, that get everyone debating. Everyone's not always going to agree on everything. And if anyone ever wants to be on the show, or you know of someone that you're like, damn, I know Johnny from down the street would crush it on this show called Decades, email Sub60Ed, okay? Sub60, throw your email on the bottom of that.
It's right there on it. It's running on the ticker. Decade Show 24
at gmail.com. Decade Show 24 at gmail.com. We would love to have more panelists on here, okay?
Yes.
We don't want it to be a vacuum of information. I want to hear people that I agree with. I want to hear people that I disagree with. And, it's one of those things that, like the discussion between Chalice and Sub60, that's great. I get to see exactly what they're talking about and understand exactly where one sits and opposed to where the other one sits. Am I going to agree with both of them? Good God, no. All right. Am I going to agree with one over the other? Yes, 100%. That's just the way I am. That's the same thing with movies, music, pizza, food. I don't care. And that's fine. So if you want to be on the show, is it Decades 24 at
Decades Show?
Decades Show 24 at gmail.com. I should just read the bottom.
You should. If you can.
For myself, Sub60, Bill, guys,
oh,
and crazy.
Whoa. You forgot. We have to do our person. Oh.
Given.
Oh, we got to do. Oh, is it? Oh, everybody's okay. Bill, you're kind of.
Bill.
Hey, Charles, I'm going to tell you because of the dialogue you and I had, I was going to give it to you. Since it was so.
I'm going to share it with Chalice.
It was so because I got buddies of mine texting me who've been watching it. Just said, "Ed, great show, but you got crushed." I'm like, "Okay, it was a good show." All right, but anyway, actually, all right. So it'll be to you, Bill, since the panel wants you up, and we all raise a glass. We all raise it. Go ahead, Mr. Rubio.
Cheers. See you guys next Tuesday.